friends, Simon the Bald A-Hole here, still trying to fight off a horrendous illness, so if there are some weird cuts in this video, it means I had a coughing fit. But given that just before I did get struck down with this, I did indeed wrestle for Progress Wrestling, which means at some point in the indeterminate future, or very near future I should say, I shall be on the WWE Network. I just wanted to talk about it before my emotions left me. Now, of course, we will do another video when the Progress show does go live on there. But yes, this is one of the coolest things I've ever done in wrestling. And just to sort of catch you up to speed, at the start of 2022, we did a video about it. I was asked by Progress Wrestling, who had just been taken over by new ownership, if I wanted to be the new host. That's something that they've always done. And I think I've talked about this before as well. I never thought I was going to have any affiliation with Progress because I just wasn't their type of wrestler or character or person or individual, which was totally cool, right? They had a certain type they went for. I didn't fit into that box. And you kind of just shrug your shoulders and you go, okay, well, it would be cool because obviously Progress is right up here when it comes to the UK independent wrestling scene. But ultimately, you can't change those things, so you may as well just roll with the punches and make sure you're having a good time elsewhere. Then there was this big change, and all of a sudden I did get the phone call, and I was like, yeah, I'd absolutely love to do that. That sounds good. Now, it was for two reasons, and I told them this as well. One, it sounded like a fun job to do, and again, I'm an independent contractor, both wrestling, within wrestling and outside of it. But also, I was like, it's a foot in the door, right? Foot in the door, try and do a good job, and as and when the opportunity arises, maybe we can do some kind of a match, which is what we did. So you've just seen that clip and you're like, right, Simon, straight away, why are you dressed like an elf? Well, it's because I love goofy wrestling, although actually it wasn't my idea. So basically the way the story came together was there is a wrestler called Tate Mayfairs. Now, I do like to try and keep the magic alive, but I also like to give props and credit where credit is due. So what I'm going to say is that Tate Mayfairs is a wonderful individual and a terrific pro wrestler. And then we'll move on. Of course, I hate him and I want to punch him in the face. But basically, we started doing this thing where I can't even remember it now because we had so much fun with it. It's actually gone from my brain. But Tate has this catchphrase, which is like, if you Google the greatest professional wrestler to walk the earth. I deliberately didn't learn it because the whole point is I would forget it. You will find Tate Mayfairs. So I would always get it wrong. I would always just stumble over the words. Sometimes I'd laugh at it like this is absolutely preposterous that I have to say this stuff. And this is happening for a good while. I mean, me and Tate were just doing it to begin with because we thought it was funny. And it was funny. It used to make me laugh. I used to say to him, dude, use me as some sort of like tool to make you more hated. Like, just crap over me as much as you can. And I think eventually some people saw this and they're like, oh, they seem like they're having a good time. So we tied it into the story where all of a sudden it got a bit more aggressive and it got a bit more intense. And there was actually proper tension between us to the point I was like, well, I'm not going to do it at all for you anymore, Tate. I think you're such a butt munch that you take the microphone. I'm not even going to acknowledge your existence. And we did this really cool thing at one of the Manchester shows. You can see this on the WWE Network right now. I can't remember what chapter it is. I'll make sure to put it on the screen. If not, you just have to go watch all the Progress shows. Where basically what happened is Tate got too funny with me, I suppose, and he slammed the mic against my chest. And we had this moment where it looked like I was gonna beat him up, and I took my jacket off. And listen, how do I explain this? I think most people that watch my channel know I'm not confident, right? I have confidence, but also in these kind of situations, I will always assume the worst. That's just my nature, I suppose. I thought, oh man, no one's going to care, and it's going to be absolutely ridiculous. I wanted people to care, but again, I worry, I suppose. And there was a real buzz in the room, and I got the Miller's going to flub you up chant. I was like, yes, I wanted that. But then we left it a bit, right? But at the next show, it got a bit worse. The next show, it got a bit worse. And then the one before the December show, December the 30th, which is chapter 147, where it all kicked off, it got really bad to the point, he pie-faced me and he pushed me and I lost my temper and we didn't come to blows. We had a tiny bit of contact before everybody rushed in, proper pull-apart stuff. As people kept saying to me, no, Miller, you're the announcer here, you're the host, you can't do stuff like this. It's just a classic story. And it just so happened to be that at Unboxing, which was the December show, it was the surprise show that they do every year. So it was all mystery matches. Well, actually, there was one, Charles Crowley versus Maggot. Shout out to those two guys, superb individuals. And so it was almost, I'm not comparing it to the CM Punk situation, but that was where the inspiration came from. We wanted everyone to know that we don't know where the matches are going to be, but Tate's probably going to be on it. And if Tate is on it, surely Simon is going to be his opponent, right? But we also wanted there to be enough doubt, which is like, well, maybe not. which is one of the reasons I came out dressed like an elf. Now, another reason I did this is, well, it's twofold, really. One, because I have no shame. Anything I can do to make things more entertaining, I will do. Like, I remember someone said to me, Miller, don't you feel embarrassed wearing an elf suit? I was like, no, who cares? What's the worst thing that can happen? Simon, you look dumb dressed like an elf. I mean, that was the whole intent. If you didn't think I looked dumb, I wouldn't have achieved what I set out to do. But basically, we needed to find a way to hide my gear, because I had put my gear on under a t-shirt and jeans, which is what I usually wear, but I had trainers on, and I looked like, you know, Fisher-Price wrestler. It just happens sometimes. Obviously, people like John Cena and a bunch of people in independent British wrestling wear trainers, but it suits their gimmick and it suits their character. Because this was more of a, well, we have to do it because we don't have a plan B, it just looked a little bit budget. So I thought, I don't want to do that. And then I won't name names, but I will shout out everyone in progress management and creative, whatever the right words. They're just tremendous, lovely people, and I really enjoy working with them. But actually, it did start with me because I said, is there any such thing as an overshoot? Which there's not, by the way. But my point was that I didn't know how to hide my boots because I have red all over my boots. So even if I was wearing jeans, somebody would have seen the boot and gone, Miller's clearly going to wrestle. And even if they knew it was going to happen, I didn't want to give anything away. Like, I didn't even tan. I always tan for wrestling because it makes you look better. I was like, no, I want it to be as naked as humanly possible. But I said, can we get an overshoot? That's something I made up in my head. Where one of the other guys said, well, look, it is Christmas and the show is unboxing. And even though it is the 30th, so, you know, Christmas Day had come and gone, you can say that you're the Progress Christmas elf here to give out the last presents, which are these amazing matches that everyone's going to enjoy. And I was like, boom, that's it. So I made sure I ordered the cheapest elf costume I ever could because I wanted to rip it off. That's a story that we'll tell in a minute. And I do think it worked because as soon as I walked out there, I heard some people going, well, he's dressed like an elf. So I thought he was going to wrestle. He's not going to wrestle now. And there was three matches before mine. And I was the fourth. And I don't think I've ever been so nervous in my life when it comes to wrestling. I don't like to use the word nervous, excited. Like, you're nervous. I don't want to get too mental health here, but nervousness and excitement are basically the same thing. They come from the same part of your body. And it all depends how you correspond with them is how you make you feel. I was really pumped for this. I thought this was really cool. One, I've been watching Progress for years, so to me it did feel like a little bit of achievement. I could be totally wrong. What do I know? But two, yeah, it is going to be on the WWE Network, and because I'm a massive wrestling nerd, that does mean a lot to me. If you had told me when I took my first bump in 2016 that 6 years later that was going to happen, I'd be a pretty happy panda, right? So there was a lot going into this. The only problem was I have a whole warm-up routine, right? So I couldn't do any of that. So between matches, I was like running to the back and kind of stretch, and I took my pre-workout juice to try and look as big as possible. And yes, this was one of the matches that, I got my personal trainer that we talked about in a different video because I needed it. But also in the back of my mind, I did have this date, like I really want to come into this as lean as possible. And it's the most lean I've been in ages. I think from April when I took Ryan on, I think I dropped about 20 pounds, which is like a stone and a half, which for me is a lot. I still wasn't happy. but whoever is. But that was kind of probably adding a little bit of stress to my shoulders too, because I'm here, I'm there, I'm here, I'm there, I'm here, I'm there. And then, fair play to everybody involved. They came up with this really cool thing. Tate comes out, he runs me down. I act like I was told this guy isn't going to be here, blah, blah, blah. And then they made this amazing video. Can I show that? I don't know if I can, because obviously we're not going to be able to show any proper clips from the WWE Network, hence all the phone clips that people kindly sent me, because it would get copyright claimed instantly. Maybe this will too. We just don't know. But I think I'll try and put the video in so you can see it. And yeah, it was so awesome. So you get the cyberspace thing. It cuts to Tate looking surprised. It's his catchphrase. They made that awesome music for me. During all this time, I'm trying to take my shoes off, which was really hard. But at that point, it didn't matter if people knew, because I knew, right? Technically, I made the video within the world of the story. So I took my shoes off, and then, yeah, Tate turned around, and I speared his ass, and bless his heart, he sold it. No one could have sold it better.
Giant! This is going to be the most beautiful.
And then, yeah, I think I've got a video, so I'll make sure I put it in here. I tried to take my stupid elf pants off. I couldn't get them off.
Holy shit! Holy shit!
It's so funny. It's just one of those things. I think I was either too pumped up, but also they kept getting stuck to my boots, but I don't care. That stuff really makes me laugh. So, yeah. But there was a bunch of stuff that I wanted to do in the match that I pitched that thankfully they agreed to. So I did that dive off the top rope. Some asshole on the internet straight away, oh, Simon, you didn't look very stable up there. Actually, I was perfectly stable. I would have waited longer, but again, I had too much adrenaline running through me. I'm perfectly happy with that. Just am. Could be completely wrong, but you can tell me in the comments below. And I wanted to do the backdrop onto the ring stage. Because, these are kind of spots I'd never done before, but I thought they were appropriate for somewhere like Progress, especially because I'm like, well, there's a big crowd here. There's a good few hundred people. Think about 500 people. And of course, you think, well, it's going to be on the network, so I want to do some cool stuff. And I totally over-rotated. I landed right on my ass. You can see it, right? And my ass has been bruised for the last week, which actually wasn't so bad because I was worried about the gym. As it turns out, I haven't been able to go to the gym, again, because of this stupid sickness. It's been that bad, but, we've talked about that on a different video. But I also wanted to get goofy stuff in there. So there's an amazing bit, which, again, I can't show you. Got to watch the network version for this came out, where we did the Triple H Rock Austin thing. So I beat Tate up for a bit and I went on commentary and I said, I'm so sorry about this. I've lost my temper, blah, blah. Then Tate cut me off and he went on, he said some of his stuff. And it ends with the referee, Tom, who's also a good dude and a great referee, being like, I'm so sorry. These two guys are out of control. And then I will pepper this with all the clips that I do have so you can see as much as I do that I have on my position. But the finish, you'll be surprised to hear, ended with the most devastating move in all of sports entertainment, the surprise roll-up. When I went for the spear, which is a move that I'd hit twice at the start, and, I was trying to tease, as soon as I get another one, I'm going to win. I ran in, and, Tate surprised me. He held my tights, and I got the 1, 2, 3. Now, again, some people that were there couldn't believe this. I'll call them the smart crowd, just because people know what that means, but I hate that term. A wrestling fan is a wrestling fan. But they wanted to talk to me after the show about the, internal workings. And they were like, Simon, I can't believe you agreed for him to beat you. And I was like, man, that's the best story ever. Like, of course, there's having a heroic story is good, or a protagonist winning. But tragedy, William Shakespeare just wrote tragedies, basically. Not that I'm comparing this to William Shakespeare. But the noise in the Electric Ballroom in Camden, when he rolled me up and held my tights and got the 1, 2, 3, was better than any kind of noise I ever could have got. I kid you not. The groan and the I can't believe he just did that. I had to hide my face because that's perfect. It's exactly what I wanted. And also, Warren Banks came out afterwards and did a cool thing. I love that guy. He is so damn cool too. Progress did let me cut a promo afterwards. And the only reason I wanted to point this out is, again, watch that on the network. I'm not going to go through it word for word. But I had thought about what I wanted to say because I did have a poignant message I wanted to put out there. And incredibly, everybody in that ballroom, arena, venue, room, stood up and they gave me a round of applause. Now, I'll admit I had so much adrenaline going through me when my video played at the start. It honestly took me a few days before it hit me, because I think it's like sensory overload and your brain and your body kind of shuts down. But after it was done and I wasn't worrying about the match, I wasn't worrying about doing a good job. And I cut that promo and everybody did that. I genuinely had tears in my eyes. And if you want to say, Simon, you're a baby, you're an idiot, that's totally cool. My catchphrase has always been, we have tears for a reason. And if you don't understand it, I get it. Why are you crying at a wrestling show? Totally, man. You can only base it on your own experiences. But to get that kind of reaction from a Progress crowd, and they truly meant it as well, genuinely, man, I never thought I would get that. Not 10 years ago, 5 years ago, not in the moment, not even now, right? Looking back, even though it's happened. And I suppose the main reason I wanted to bring that up is just to say thank you, because that is something, again, I totally experienced that in the moment, hence why I did get all emotional. But that is something I put it in my back pocket and no one can ever take it away from me. So that's why I wanted to do the video, because I wanted to talk about it when the memories were still fresh. I was hoping to do it on Tuesday, Wednesday, but alas, I had to lay down and shake a lot, which is always fun. I highly recommend it. But it was truly, truly cool. And again, the fact that it has happened hasn't quite set in. And there's always going to be one guy, and it's not like WWE or AEW, is it? No, but of course they're bigger. Let's not pretend otherwise. But there's steps on the ladder. And the fact that I got to this step, well, it just does mean something to me, man. That's why I wanted to do the video. And as I said to people in the room that day, it's a massive thank you to you as well, because without your support, without you watching the videos, the ups and downs, this stuff, merchandise, Twitter, Instagram, whatever it is, you have allowed me to build this small platform that I do work very, very hard. Like I do, I barely take a day off, but that's my choice. Nobody makes me do that. But the fact that you've done all this for me, has allowed me to have these experiences and opportunities. And I've always been that kind of guy. I've always been a guy that wanted experience over everything. Like I'm not very materialistic. Doesn't matter if you are, apart from Lego. Lego's amazing. And slowly but surely they've kind of come down the pipe, and I still want more, because that's how we're built as human beings. But yeah, this was a cool day. And I haven't even told you the half of it, right? There's so much more we could talk about, but I don't want to over egg the pudding too much. Maybe we'll egg that pudding when it comes out on the WWE Network, which will be in the next couple of weeks. It won't be long, and I'll make sure I drop a line here, there, and everywhere. So massive thank you to everybody involved in this. Massive thank you to the fans and you. And I won't say other names because, again, I don't want to ruin wrestling too much. But anybody I basically chatted to that day, you're all awesome, and I love you very much. And on that note, please do like the video, share the video, and subscribe to the bell ding ding so you know when other videos going live. There'll be a video on the screen. Give it a click. I tell you, get into my YouTube channel. I would appreciate it massively. Also, if you're into fitness, you can go to grillermind.com/Simon. You can Simon, get 10% off. These are good supplements, right? I'm just going to tell you straight. I use them. Does that mean you should use them? No, but I promise you, if there's something on there that you like and you do give it a go, it's top stuff. It really, really is. Hence why I'm happy to pimp it out as much as possible. I'm also on Patreon, patreon.com/Simon316, just a way to financially support the channel because I don't make much money from YouTube. I can show you the analytics should you so wish, but it also helps support the podcast, which is back now, Simon is Pro Wrestling Show. Make sure you check that out on your podcast app of choice. Come follow me at social media at SimonMiller316 on Instagram and Twitter. I'm on Cameo if you want a shout out. Valentine's Day is like 6 weeks away. If you want me to say something to your loved one, I certainly shall do that. And merchandise. My merchandise for wrestling is at Pro Wrestling Tees. There's a link in the description down there. And for my fitness stuff is at Samson Athletics. Again, make sure you use the description down below because that way I can keep track of all the sales. Anything you buy, I do make a little bit of money on, and that helps me carry on the channel. But also, it's awesome. To think there's people out there wearing my merchandise is a pretty cool feeling. And I think that's everything. I usually forget something, but that's okay. You take care of yourselves. A big thank you to me once again. And as we are on January the 5th, 2023, or whatever it is, go out there and live your dreams. And remember, living your dreams doesn't necessarily mean having ultimate success. It's just getting your ass off the sofa to begin with and giving something a go. Because I tell you, in that lies the fun.